BJP has released its first list of 195 candidates. Several incumbent MPs were dropped. It's virtually a new lineup in states like Delhi, where the BJP retained just one MP so far. Controversial MPs like Pragya Thakur and Ramesh Biduri also missed out on the first list. 34 union ministers were named in the first list. The BJP has given tickets to most sitting MPs in UP. Several ministers who are current Rajya Sabha members have been fielded for the upcoming elections. These include Mansukh Mandavia, Bhupendra Yadav, Jyotiradittya Scindia, Sarbanand Sonowal, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, among others. Former Union Minister Harshvardhan said he's quitting politics after his name did not appear in the first list. Bhojpuri actor Pawan Singh, who was BJP's pick for West Bengal's Asansol seat, has opted out of the race. Ex-cricketer Gautam Gambhir and Jayant Sinha had earlier tweeted that they would like to sit out and not contest the election. To take this forward, we're now joined by Aditi Phadnis from the Business Standard, senior journalist Rashid Kidwai and B.S. Arun. Aditi Phadnis, if I can begin with you. The fact that almost 33 MPs have been replaced, what does this indicate about the BJP's planning and internal surveys?
Well, these are early days yet. Only 33 have been replaced. We were expecting nearly a third of the BJP MPs to be fielded by new people. That hasn't happened. So I think these are the absolute certainties. But I think we have to also look at those who are not in the first list rather than those who are. For instance, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari is not on the first list, which raises a question mark. But you could argue that Maharashtra seats have not been declared yet. That list has not come out yet, so maybe it's because of that. There are some other ministers who are also not on this list. So, in all, I think it's more a question of waiting rather than watching.
Rashid Kidwai, let me come to you at this stage. The fact that in Delhi, out of the 5 seats that were announced, 4 are absolutely new faces. Why do you think the BJP has done this? Is this because of the coalition politics?
Absolutely, Prakshit. I think BJP is being very wary of. I mean, they've taken a note of this Congress AAP alliance in Delhi, and they realize that demographic profiles of some of the constituencies such that it cannot take things for granted. In fact, this is a hallmark of the entire BJP list. You look at Uttar Pradesh list, extremely cautious. They have not, as Aditi was saying, they have not experimented much. But in Delhi, they realize that Aam Aadmi Party and Congress alliances, their threat is real. They don't want to lose anything, so they have changed people. Similarly, if you see the list of Kerala and some other places, BJP has allowed itself to experiment, but they are not experimenting in Uttar Pradesh. So while the BJP is very confident of Modi Magic and all kind of schemes, Ram Mandir, etc., they are not leaving anything to chance. So this is something I think somewhere BJP realizes this is they are going for third term, and it's not an easy thing to get. So therefore they are overtly very cautious.
Right. B.S. Arun, speaking about the roadmap from here onwards. There was a big Council of Ministers meeting yesterday. Several high-level presentations were made by government officials, and the government has indicated that they will bring a Viksit Bharat roadmap in the budget after the elections. Also, a 100-day agenda is being worked upon for quick implementation after the new government is sworn in. What does this indicate about the party's confidence, the road going forward? Secretary is being told that do not rest during this election period, keep the work going, there will be continuity.
Yes, over the last few months, we have been seeing how confident the BJP is, in coming back to power. And that is one, example. Yesterday's meeting was one example of that. And Prime Minister Modi also has, made several points in his speech yesterday, including one about the so-called hate speeches by not to indulge in, antagonizing people. That's what he broadly meant, saying that, not to indulge in, be very careful in whom you meet, be very careful in what you speak. This is ahead of the elections. So as far as what you are saying about, the developmental agenda, I think BJP has been, over the last few months, harping on this. And they are also showing to Congress that they have a plan. They have a plan for the next 100 days. They have a plan for the next 5 years. They even have a plan till 2047. I think this is what the Congress also has to look at, because it has not so far come out with a plan that is alternative to the BJP, and I think that is an important factor, because Congress, all said and done, is a major party, that will face the BJP, and it has to come out with its, the plans for the country, for plan that it can lay before the people ahead of the coming Lok Sabha elections.
All right. Aditi Phadnis, returning to you, out of these MPs, these candidates who have been announced for the first list, which are some of the key contests you were going to watch out for? Of course, you've got the big battlegrounds such as Varanasi. The Prime Minister is going to be contesting from there. Smriti Irani contesting from Amethi. We have an interesting contrast in Thiruvananthapuram, where Rajiv Chandrasekhar would be contesting, possibly against Shashi Tharoor. So how do you see some of these big contests?
Well, it would be interesting to watch Guna, for instance, where the same person who defeated the current aviation minister, Jyotiraditya Scindia, by a margin of more than 1.5 lakh votes, has been asked to stand down, and Mr. Scindia is contesting from there instead. So the dynamics of whether the BJP will cooperate with Mr. Scindia or not, that should be interesting to watch. Further, there will be more interesting campaigns and more interesting seats in Bengal, where the BJP is number 2 in the maximum number of seats that it has contested across India. So that should be also an interesting series of contests to watch. And of course, I mean, Rajiv Chandrasekhar owns a television channel which is very bitterly opposed to the BJP in its editorial coverage. So how that will play out should also be quite interesting.
Right. Rashid Kidwai, returning to you, how do you think the Congress, the India Alliance, is going to react to this first seat announced by the BJP and some of the key manifesto points that the India Alliance could come up with?
India Alliance is not according much importance to, that kind of 195 seats much before elections are formally announced, because our past experience has shown, political reporting, that this becomes very inconsequential. This is not something very important. What is important is, for instance, in Uttar Pradesh, maybe closer to announcement of elections date, which way Mayawati would campaign. Would she be sort of a tacit understanding with BJP, or is she going to move closer to, or are we going to see something, some dramatic announcements and last minute, poll adjustment within India Alliance that are not worked so far? So that is going to be a point of interest. You see, for instance, this name of a prime ministerial candidate is nowhere in sight. Mr. Kharge's name came up, but there were no takers for it. But I think the issue is not dead. I think India Alliance is working on some strategy and some plan. As Arun was saying, of course, there are going to be a lot of guarantees and swaps just to match the BJP, because India Alliance fears one thing. This time, Rakshit, BJP and Mr. Modi is trying to convert those who have not voted for the BJP in 2014 and 19. Remember, BJP vote percentage has been 31% and 38% respectively, these two polls, whereas Mr. Modi's ratings have always been 50%, 60%, etc. So they are trying to get this kind of thing, some kind of extra push, and therefore all these 100 days, I mean, for an incumbent government, this 100 days agenda is rather meaningless. But how Mr. Modi is trying to sell that is something very interesting. At least I find it very interesting.
All right,
I think an attempt is there to
we're losing that link, but let me now go across to B.S. Arun as well. B.S. Arun, if we were to ask you about Pragya Singh Thakur and the possible reasons why the BJP could have dropped her as a candidate.
I think Parikshit is quite interesting. Pragya Thakur, as well as the two of the Delhi MPs, Paresh and the other person, that they were indulging in so-called hate speeches, and possibly the Prime Minister and the BJP top echelons didn't like it. The Prime Minister you may recall, had even said that, when Pragya Thakur made that statement about Godse, the Gandhiji's killer, he had said that he can never excuse Pragya Thakur, and possibly that was the main reason why the BJP decided to drop the MP from Bhopal and instead field another loyalist to the party from the same constituency. And the fact that these three people have been dropped is a good indicator of the BJP taking possibly everybody along, and possibly BJP might be changing its outlook, towards these issues. And this would be a welcome change if the BJP has really thought so. Although the BJP has not said it in so many words as to why they have been dropped, but certainly this is an interesting indicator. Also from Madhya Pradesh, Parikshit, the choice of Shivraj Singh Chauhan as the candidate for Vidisha also is interesting, because he was not considered to be the chief minister, although the BJP had won a thumping victory in Madhya Pradesh, and he has been now fielded. He will be the party candidate now in Vidisha for the Lok Sabha. So these are some of the interesting, and as Aditi said, from Madhya Pradesh, the candidature of Jyotiraditya Scindia, who was defeated from Guna, and he has subsequently came to the BJP from Congress. So these were some of the interesting candidates and interesting announcements, choices made by the BJP from the central part of the country.
All right. My final questions now to Aditi Phadnis and Rashid Kidwai. When it comes to the choice of certain new candidates, for example, Bansuri Swaraj and also Praveen Khandelwal. Praveen Khandelwal, which had been the face of trader protests, protests against e-commerce companies as well. Aditi Phadnis, do you think this is the BJP's way of rewarding him or tapping into the sentiment of the large trader community, which has traditionally backed the BJP?
Well, I think overall it's a matter of having him inside the tent rather than outside. So he's going to be now a BJP candidate. It's incumbent upon him to ensure that traders, whatever complaints they have about him and about the system, come to the BJP rather than they're airing them openly to whoever may listen. There are a lot of problems, particularly with the GST and the way it's been rolled out. There are issues around e-commerce. There are issues around mom and pop stores shutting down as a result of e-commerce. All these are matters that Khandelwal has been raising vociferously. And I think the BJP hopes that maybe once he's an MP, he will not raise them as vociferously as he had in the past. So it's a very interesting choice. And of course, we know that Chandni Chowk is a bastion of small traders.
All right. Thank you very much, Aditi Phadnis, Rashid Kidwai and B.S. Arun for joining us on the program, giving us your view on the first list of 195 candidates released by the BJP. There will be a second CEC meeting this week, and we could see the next list announced. But clearly, the BJP going by internal surveys, seeing who's strong on the ground and who's not. And there are some notable exits as well. We leave it there for the moment, but the news continues here on CNBC TV 18. Don't go anywhere.